Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Lauren LaRosa filling in for Jess, and Nick Cannon is co-hosting this morning.
Yes, sir.
And let's get in some front page news. Start off with some quick sports. Last night, WNBA, the Minnesota Lynx came back to beat the Liberty 95-93.
Phenomenal game.
Yep, and Thursday night football, the 49ers beat the Seahawks 36-24. And last night in Major League Baseball, the Yankees move on. They beat the Royals 3-1, and the Guardians beat the Tigers. They tied the series 5-4. Did you know the Tigers' salary cap is $18 million?
What the heck?
That's not a lot of
baseball?
money. I'm going to tell you why. Yeah, $18 million is what they pay the whole team.
The whole team?
Like as a
Yes.
unit.
Oh, y'all got to start doing steroids.
Crazy. Y'all got to start doing steroids.
They was making so much money when they was doing
No,
steroids.
but the fact that they went this far and only pay $18 million, just to put it in perspective, Judge on the Yankees
That's
makes
crazy.
$40 million a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that
Don't
whole
even-
team, the salary is $18 million.
Who decides that though? Like, how does that become a
The
thing?
owner, right?
The owner decides. But there's no salary cap in baseball, so they can pay whatever they want. But they only pay out $18 million. How crazy is that?
He got a bang for his buck.
Yeah, they need a union. Something ain't right.
That's crazy. But the fact that they went this far and they paid $18 million, like I said, the Yankees paid Judge $40 million a year. That's crazy. Morning, Morgan.
Good morning. Dang, I was thinking y'all ain't going to care about the news this morning. Okay, so let's get into it. President Joe Biden, he's calling out former President Donald Trump after spreading misinformation about the federal government's response to Hurricane Helene and Milton. Trump said last weekend that people who lost their homes in hurricanes would only receive $750 in federal aid. While speaking at the White House on Thursday about Hurricane Milton specifically, Biden said that's just a lie to suggest that that's all that people are going to get. Let's hear from Biden.
Mr. President Trump, former President Trump, get a life, man. Help these people. But Mr. Trump and all those other people know it's a lie to suggest that's all they're going to get. That's bizarre. It's bizarre. They got to stop this.
So Biden went on to say that Trump and others who spread information are un-American. This comes as there has been at least 12 fatalities reported as a result of the storm, Hurricane Milton to be specific. Biden fears the death toll will only rise in the coming days following Hurricane Milton, and that he's been in contact with local leaders in Florida and promised to provide all the assets they need. More on Biden.
We know from previous hurricanes that it's often the case that more lives are lost the days following the storm than actually during the storm itself. I know recovery and rebuilding projects can take a long and difficult time, but as long after the press and the cameras move on, I promise you, you have to pick up the pieces still. I want you to know we'll do everything in our power to help you put pieces back together and get all that you need.
Biden also spoke with Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin about providing military assistance in hard-hit areas impacted by Milton and Helene. He also, he talked about the misinformation. Meanwhile, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says Milton was significant, but wasn't the worst-case scenario that forecasters feared.
Thank God.
Right, exactly. The damage is extensive, and at least 3 million homes remain without power. Search and rescue efforts are ongoing, with hundreds being rescued so far. Let's hear from Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
We're continuing supporting search and rescue operations. As of this afternoon, at least 340 individuals and 49 pets have been rescued. They are hard at work. I know this area is FPL. I know they're planning a big push. So we feel very confident that those folks are working very hard, and you're going to see some good stuff here in the ensuing time period.
Well, the gag is two Floridians take this into account. The Florida governor said that the Sunshine State is a state of law and order. So if there's some things that he's saying, you might want to you want to listen to your governor. He mentioned looting, saying that looting following Hurricane Milton will not be tolerated. I can only imagine, that people are out there trying to get it how they live. You know what I'm saying? DeSantis says he has brought in massive amounts of state officers to help with recovery efforts, and confirmed he is working with federal government for assistance. The Republican governor also addressed the recent reports that he ignored Vice President Kamala Harris's call, saying if he thought there were anything to be gained from speaking with her, then he would have. have. So, yeah, that's y'all elected official. I'm just saying, Florida. Florida going Florida. And, of course, go ahead. Go ahead, Sean.
I was just going to say, Trump did get all the misinformation wrong, but, once you call out the misinformation, you have to give the right information. And the right info is they did get $750, but that's the type of assistance that FEMA provides to disaster survivors to help with immediate needs like food, water, and baby formula, but they can apply for more.
And do they have to pay that back? Because that's what the rumor was, that people got to pay. You got to pay it back, and if you don't pay it back, people will lose their homes. That was part of the misinformation.
And I also do hate when they talk like Trump is the president. Like President Biden said, Trump helped these people. I know he has influence over the Republican Party, but stop talking about him like he's the shadow president.
Yeah, like he's running.
Unless he is. Unless y'all want to tell us. Unless y'all want to tell us something.
Biden might have forgot, right?
Please
He is from Delaware. That's true.
Oh, don't do us. Morgan, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right, well, let's get to the last one. Florida Senator Rick Scott, he told President Biden FEMA needs to open up offices closer to the areas where Hurricane Milton was hit. He addressed a number of things when the two of them spoke yesterday. Can we roll on Florida Senator Rick Scott?
He agreed with me that Congress needs to come back and make sure the federal agencies, FEMA, SBA, HUD, Department of Agriculture are fully funded, not just for the disaster in Florida, but for the disaster with Helene in Georgia, East Tennessee, in North Carolina. I've also called on the majority leader of the Senate to call us all back, and let's get this funding done to make sure we have all the resources we need.
See, bipartisan efforts. You see that? Florida Senator Rick Scott, he's a Republican. He's working with Biden. They're doing things that are actually supposed to be done for the people. So kudos to them in regards to that. And the senator went on to say that Floridians are resilient people. So best of luck to those in Florida impacted by the storm. That's your front page news at 6 a.m. At 7, we'll talk about what's going on the campaign trail.
All right. And salute to Lieutenant Dan. Lieutenant Dan is the gentleman that was on the boat in Florida. That he wouldn't get off the boat. They tried to arrest him. They tried to pull him off the boat. They offered him housing. They offered him a hotel. They
he
offered
made
him
it
food.
through the storm, though.
He made it through the storm with no problem. He just said he was a little tired because he couldn't get some sleep. But he stayed on that boat and wound up getting somebody donated him a $100,000 boat. So now he got offered another boat. So he's going to get another boat. So salute to Lieutenant Dan. All right, everybody else, get it off your chest. 800-585-1051. If you need to vent, phone lines are wide open. Nick Cannon is our co-host this morning. So it's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Wake that ass up.
In the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are The Breakfast Club. Lauren LaRosa filling in for Jess. And Nick Cannon is our co-host this morning.
Yes, sir.
And let's get back in some front page news. What's up, Morgan?
Well, let's get into it then. So former President Trump, he's going after the Biden-Harris administration again on the economy after some poor reports. The Consumer Price Index and the barometer of inflation rose more than expected in September. And initial filings for unemployment benefits also unexpectedly turned higher for last week. Speaking at the Detroit Economic Club on Thursday, Trump chided the White House and for keeping inflation higher than when he was in office. Let's hear from Trump on Kamala and the polls.
Under Biden and Harris, because of inflation, the economy has been a total disaster. But Kamala says that she can't think of one thing that she would do differently. That the only reason that the stock market has gone up is because Donald Trump is doing very well in the polls, and it looks like he's going to win.
Yeah, so the latest polling information shows that former President Donald Trump does have a slight lead over Vice President Kamala Harris in the critical swing states of Pennsylvania and Michigan. The Emerson College polling shows Trump with a 49% and Harris with 48% in the Keystone State, and they're tied at 49% in Michigan.
But you know what the truth is, though? The truth is inflation is at its lowest level since February of 2021. The problem is the price of everything else is too high. Mm-hmm. Like the price of actual goods is too high, but inflation is literally at its lowest level since February 2021.
That's right. They did make those cuts recently. Mm-hmm. But speaking of Michigan, Trump said that if he doesn't win in November, our whole country will end up like Detroit. Now, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, Gretchen, what up though? Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer responded to Trump on X by saying, keep Detroit out your mouth, and you better believe Detroiters won't forget this in November. Mayor Mike Dugan on social media, he said that a lot of cities should be like Detroit, adding that we did it all without Trump's help. Now, meanwhile, former President Barack Obama, he was on the campaign trail for Kamala Harris in Pennsylvania. He spoke in Pittsburgh yesterday, where he told crowds America is ready to turn the page to a better story and elect Harris. Let's hear from former President Obama on voting.
So whether this election is making you feel excited or scared or hopeful or frustrated or anything in between, do not just sit back and hope for the best. Get off your couch and vote.
Yeah, Obama added that VP Harris has a great running partner in Governor Tim Walz. He went on to say that Obama says that she also understands the struggle of the middle class and outlined her plan to give financial help to first-time home buyers, new parents, and small business owners. Obama reminded voters of what the economy looked like when he left office in 2016. Let's hear more from the former President Obama.
And the reason some people think, wow, I don't know, I remember that economy when he first came in being pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good, because it was my economy. We had 75 straight months of job growth that I handed over to him. It wasn't something he did. I had spent 8 years cleaning up the mess that the Republicans had left me the last time.
That is simply a fact.
Talk that talk.
Regardless how you feel about President Obama, that's the fact.
So yes, in comparison, he said Donald Trump only gives tax breaks to corporations and the super rich. Speaking of Democratic vice presidential candidate, Tim Walz, he was being questioned after he strayed away from official Kamala Harris campaign position recently. The Minnesota governor told supporters in Seattle and Sacramento that the Electoral College needs to be abolished. However, the Harris campaign came out and said that that statement is not a part of their campaign agenda. So just to make that clear, that is Walz's opinion and how he feels. I don't necessarily disagree with him.
I agree with him. What's wrong with that statement? The Electoral College needs to be abolished.
Didn't need to be abolished.
Yes, I agree with you on that. I was saying don't necessarily disagree with Walz by saying that, but it is not. So we can't hold him to the fire when, if something like that does not happen, because that's not a Harris campaign agenda item.
I hate the Electoral College. Like, it makes no sense to me.
Popular vote should win.
It should just be straight up vote.
Votes.
That's it.
I'm with you.
Absolutely. And while we're talking about vice presidential nominees, J.D. Vance on the other side of the aisle, he's making campaign stops in Greensboro. The Republican U.S. Senator from Ohio will be hosting a town hall at the Corey Convention Center tonight. And his special guest moderator will be former race car driver Danica Patrick. We got time for one more. I was going to say, I know it's a lot.
Yep, let's do it.
All right. Well, let's bring it home to New York then. There's reportedly another investigation going on into the New York City Mayor Adams administration. I know, right? When the heads are rolling. Sources tell the New York Times the Manhattan District Attorney's Office is looking into the city's real estate leasing deals with commercial properties. The Times reports that investigators have seized phones from 5 people, and the investigation possibly centers around bribery and money laundering crimes. Now, Mayor Adams is fighting unrelated federal bribery and illegal campaign contribution charges. So this is on top of what's already going on. There are several other active probes in the Adams administration. So yes, I will continue to keep you guys updated on what's going on with New York City Mayor Eric Adams, his administration, and what's happening with all of those charges associated with that. So yeah, that's your front page news. I'm Morgan Wood. You can follow me on social at Morgan Media, MorganMedia. And for more news coverage, follow at Black Information Network and check us out at binnews.com. Happy Friday. Cheers to the weekend.
Thank you, Morgan.
Happy Friday.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.